Welcome to the SEC Unfiltered platform. I appreciate you guys listening to all our content on all our channels and platforms. I think I speak on behalf of everybody from the SEC Unfiltered channel when I state that. But I'm your host, Dave Shumate, longtime SEC recruiting personnel staffer director around college football. And I'm here to give you the top 5 impact players for the Texas Longhorns heading into 2024. But before we do it, guys, we got to pay the bills. First, guys, if we're starting to bet, it's that time of year. Got a lot of games coming up this first weekend. Guys, if you want to go place your wagers, go to our guys at MYBOOKIE.ag. Use code SECU at sign up to receive a special welcome offer on your first deposit. I highly encourage you to do that. Phenomenal people to work with, and they have the best wages around. But go visit our guys at MYBOOKIE.ag and use code SECU at sign up to receive a special welcome offer like I previously mentioned. But let's get to why you are here. The top 5 impact players for the Texas Longhorns heading into 2024. So it's an interesting list. And how I do this, I'm going to go in reverse chronological order, 5 through 1. Then I'll talk about some guys who just missed the cut and then just recap it for you. But just coming in at number 5, Ryan Wingo, the true freshman. It's size, speed, and athletic ability just jump off the tape immediately. He's a 10.5, 500-meter guy, so he can go. He's got the go-go juice. And Texas is in search of that wide receiver 1. Maybe he's in that. I just think if he is a top 3 man in that wide receiver rotation for Texas and Steve Sarkisian this year, I think that would be big. That is something Sark would easily take. But he was an early enrollee, shined in the spring, had a good spring game. If Sark, and I think he even stated this, if he could create his perfect wide receiver in a lab, like I mentioned, going back to size, speed, athletic ability. When I worked in college football, that's the critical factors we went off of, guys. That was the non-negotiables there. This is the guy Sark would create in a lab. Either way you look at it, I think Ryan Wingo can be an impact player because they need it. And the guy, what is he, 6'2", 205, something like that, running 10.55. Those guys just don't grow on trees. Sark's one of the best schemers, getting his playmakers the rock. If you don't believe me, just go look how he used Xavier Worthy, Devontae Smith, guys like that. Ryan Wingo's going to be in that same mold, but could have a higher upside. So I think he comes in at number 5. If he just checks in as a top 3 wide receiver for them this year, I think that is an impact player. Go to number 4. We're going to go to the other side of the football. We're going to go to PK's group. You could say Blake Gideon as well, the position coach, former Longhorn native. But safety, coming in at number 4, Andrew Makuba, transferred over from Clemson, but he's back in his native land. The LBJ graduate alma mater, that's his alma mater, is back in Austin, Texas. He's ready to roll, back in the ATX. Like I mentioned, Makuba coming over from Clemson, where he says he felt like he wasn't improving anymore. So he signed with Brent Venables. So I think he liked BV, and it just didn't work out. Sorry to mention BV on a Texas segment. But at Clemson, he made 31 starts in 3 seasons. He was a freshman All-American 2021. Just kind of never took that next step after the freshman year. But this guy should be an immediate impact player. Now the Longhorns, they may be a little timid off a guy who had some production coming over from another school at the safety spot. Jalen Catalon was the other guy that came over from Arkansas, but he was always nicked up. He was always injured. I don't think Andrew's going to be like that. I remember when I was in college, we recruited Makuba, one of the better kids to get on the phone with the head coach all the time. Just a phenomenal kid. Tell he worked hard. Something happened those second 2. He wasn't bad at Clemson his second and third years. It just wasn't the 2021 freshman production year that he had, or the production he had his freshman year. But I think getting back home, getting back in his comfortability, being in his home state, having that pride of being a Texas Longhorn, Blake Gideon, I think, takes that next step, develops him, gets him to play in his best ability like we saw in his freshman year. I think Texas, in that back end, they're going to need it. I think that safety spot, Andrew Makuba comes in at number 4. Number 3, got to have that edge rusher, baby. And it's another transfer. UTSA transfer, edge rusher, Buck, Trey Moore. Look, is he going to replicate his 14 sacks that he had at UTSA? Probably not. But this is an impact list. The way Moore plays will probably not allow him to pick up the same sacks, 14. I'm thinking he's probably going to be in that 10 range. But he can do it in the traditional way. I mean, he's got the explosive first step. He shows the ability to get low, bend, and play with good hand combat. But I think he's going to flush the quarterbacks out of the pocket along with Vernon Broughton and Alfred Collins from the inside. It's going to be a team effort, and it's going to allow guys, I think, to have production like Anthony Hill at the linebacker spots that are also – he's a beast at the inside backer spot. I think that's going to allow Anthony Hill to use his lateral speed to go chase down quarterbacks. I think Trey Moore is going to be getting a lot more assists this year than he was at UTSA, which makes sense because he had to go be the dude in San Antonio, where at Texas he can just be one of 11. I think this is a massive impact because he's going to make the other 10 guys on the field with him better. Trey Moore's going to have that impact. I'm telling you, he's going to make quarterbacks leave the pocket. I'm telling you, no one's going to benefit more than the inside backers, and especially when you factor in Anthony Hill's lateral speed, he's going to be cleaning up. I think Trey Moore, he's not going to probably replicate the 14 sacks, probably closer to that 8 to 10 range, but I think his assists are going to be there. I think he's going to have a massive impact on that defense for PK and the boys at the coordinator spot. Coming in at number 3, edge, Trey Moore, the UTSA transfer. Coming in at number 2, I think one of the best players in college football, left tackle Kelvin Banks. I think he's a top 2 tackle in this sport. It's him and Will Campbell that stand out to me at the offensive tackle spots in college football. Watching his film this offseason was one of the funnest watches of the offseason. Sorry for the incorrect grammar there for a minute, but just came to mind as first thing that came to mind. But he was one of the best watches, just the way out how patient he was in pass pro, wouldn't beat himself, how powerful he is in his first step off the line of scrimmage against the run. Now, he's going to face better edge rushers across the board and better defensive linemen across the board in the SEC. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not saying I don't think he's ready for it. I don't think it's going to matter because I still think he's a top 2 tackle in the sport. But it's going to come down to the offensive line is going to have to ultimately protect Quinn Ewers because we all know Quinn Ewers hasn't been healthy for an entire season in his entire college career. Kelvin Banks is going to take on that responsibility, along with guys like Jake Majors at the center spot, other guys on the offensive line spot. Kelvin Banks gets me excited. I love watching this guy's film. I know it's the easy layup, low-hanging fruit, but come on, man. It's the layup. You got to take the layups, too. It's the easy buckets. You got to take advantage of them. Maybe not even the layups. You slam it home, and you grab onto the rim, and you pull yourself up kind of take right here. I think Kelvin Banks comes in at number 2, left tackle, no-brainer, one of the best overall players in college football, and definitely a top 2 tackle, offensive tackle in the sport as well. But again, Kelvin Banks coming in at number 2, impact players for the Longhorns in 2024. Number 1, if you've been following this segment, we did it alphabetical order. Quarterback spot, I feel real heavy about it. I never used to say this, but I feel like your quarterback has to be a top 3 to 5 player in your team now to go win a championship. I think he could be kind of a guy that disperses the ball, doesn't turn the ball over, but you're not going to go win games because of him. You can go win 8 games if you want to go do that. But if you want to go win a championship, your quarterback has to be a dude. And I think it starts with number 1. Coming in at number 1, the impact player, good, bad, or indifferent. I think it's quarterback Quinn Ewers. If Texas wins a championship this season, it'll come down to Quinn Ewers and probably the secondary to some extent. That's another conversation for another day. But because Ewers plays the most important position in all of sports, not only in football because he touches the ball every play, but in all of sports, I think he's going to have the biggest impact. Like I said, good, bad, or indifferently. And you've heard him all offseason. I think he's taken his preparation more seriously. He's changed his diet. He said he's not eating Chick-fil-A anymore. But he's been a very busy guy this offseason, going back to the Dr. Pepper commercial. How does that affect him? I'm not saying it is, Texas fans, before you get all fired up in the comments. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it's something to think about in today's era. And it's not just a Quinn Ewers thing. It's all college football players when they're doing the name, image, likeness, getting on commercials, doing promotions. How is that affecting them? It's making them better to be professionals down the line because it's not going to be a shell shock for them when they roll into the league and have to go do all these promotions, advertising stuff they're getting paid to do. But does Ewers take that next step as an overall leader, and it sounds like he has from Sark, to allow Texas to compete for a championship in their first season in the SEC? And he's got to stay healthy, folks, because you know what the best ability is? It's availability. He can't have an impact if he's not on the field. It's 2 + 2 = 4, folks. Anybody can tell you that. But Quinn Ewers, right, wrong, or indifferent, he's going to have a say on if Texas wins the national championship or not, or wins the SEC championship, a championship of any kind. So Quinn Ewers, the quarterback spot, comes in at number 1. Some guys that just missed the boat, just missed the cut. You can go offensive lineman, center Jake Majors definitely could be on this conversation. One of the better centers in college football. Him and Quinn Ewers have played a lot of football together. I think any of the 4 receivers. Remember, Texas is trying to find wide receiver 1. Alabama transfer Isaiah Bond, proven production in the SEC. He could be on it. Silas Bolden, he could be on it. Matthew Golden could be on this. Jonte Cook, who's coming back, he could be on it as well. I mentioned this guy earlier, inside backer Anthony Hill. I think he's a freak. I think he's going to really benefit from Trey Moore on that edge, flushing out some tackles for a loss, just overall tackles to him. I think he could be in this spot. I think corner Malik Muhammad also could be in this as well. And then finally, DB, I think Jahdae Barron is the other guy that's going to have a chance to have an impact as well. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in overall, you're talking about what, 13 guys in the top 5? Yeah, you can make an argument for probably about 13 guys, and I don't think you would be wrong. I feel good about my 5. In fact, I went a little bold with Ryan Wingo because there are other guys like Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Silas Bolden, Jonte Good. But I like Wingo. It's just been, when you talk to people at Texas, he's the name has just been consistently brought up this offseason, even going back to the spring. But recap. Let's do it. Let's go recap. I just mentioned Ryan Wingo coming in at number 5. Like, I mean, just a consistent name I've heard. And every now and then you just hear these wide receivers as true freshmen just coming up and just be like, hey, dude, he's just a different breed, man. He's just a different breed. Guys like Devontae Smith, Julio Jones. I mean, you're hearing that from Ryan Williams at Alabama now, Cam Coleman. You just kind of feel that sometimes. I think Ryan Wingo's in that mode. Number 4, safety Andrew Makuba. I think coming back home is going to do a major service to him. I think you're going to see back to his 2021 freshman production. Edge Trey Moore, I think he could even potentially be higher. He's definitely in the list. I think he's going to help the other 10 guys on the field with him on the Texas defense. He's going to flush a bunch of that out. I think Trey Moore, the production level, 14 sacks probably won't be there, but I see 8, 9, but I think he helps the other guys out with assists. Number 2, left tackle, Kelvin Banks, beast, one of the top 5 players, top 10 players in college football, probably if you really ranked them. Definitely top 2 tackle, him or Will Campbell over at LSU. I think Kelvin Banks is a non-negotiable on here. And then Quinn ERS, right, wrong, or indifferently, says he's taking more of a leadership role. He's changed his body. He's taking his nutrition more serious. He is doing a lot more commercials and stuff now, but that's the lay of the land now. But can Quinn ERS take that next step as a player? Can he stay on the field for 12, 13, 14, 16, 17 games down the line? That will be the big question mark. Can he do that? If Quinn Ewers is going to have a massive say if Texas wins a championship or not, SEC or national championship, and that's Texas's standard now. They made it to the playoff. They got a taste. They were at the table. I think they won a little more. So I think Quinn Ewers coming in at number 1, instant impact players for the Longhorns heading in to 2024. But guys, I do appreciate you joining us on this segment of the top 5 impact players for the Texas Longhorns heading into the 2024 season. I'm your host, Dave Shumate, coming at you here from the SEC Unfiltered platform. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's SEC content 24/7, 365. Football, basketball, baseball. Obviously, we're in the fall. We're going to be hammering football content. So hit that notification bell because you get caught up with your day-to-day busy life. You want us to notify you when we produce videos, promote videos, so you can just, hey, go in and listen to it while you're going about your daily life. But guys, I do appreciate you joining us. You have a phenomenal day.